Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai. So, yesterday after the broadcast, whatever, we spoke a bit about Descartes. Now, Descartes was was a master doubter. It's very good. Is it? So, the nature of doubt is like this. Firstly, if I say you are free now, if I say you're just not getting it, do you doubt that? You see, so if I say 1,000 times you are free now, that will be doubted more. If I say you're just not getting it, no doubt about that. Is it? So we seem to have this propensity in doubt to doubt that which is positive. Is it? If I say I love you, I love you, I love you, 1,000 times, is it? Yeah, he's just being nice, like that. But if I say I hate you, he hates me, it's time to leave, like this. So nature of doubt is like this, that we don't doubt this I hate you, or we don't doubt I'm not getting it, but we seem to doubt I'm free now, or I love you. So that is the nature of doubt. Now, there are types of doubters. That's why I said Descartes is a master doubter. Types of doubters. Some are warrior doubters. Doubt comes, they're like, goes. Comes because it comes. The mind, nature of the mind is like that. It can come. Let's say warrior doubters. When it comes, it's just samurai. Then there are like doubting Thomases. It's like try to push it aside. It doesn't. It seems to come back, and then make yourself feel worse. I'm such a doubter. I'm not worthy. This is not right. So then on top of doubt we add guilt. And that doubt and guilt mixture becomes even more potent and we get stuck. Like that. So my suggestion would be that if you feel like doubt is like that, it keeps coming back, and the more you push it away, the more it comes back, and you feel more guilty and it doesn't seem to help, then I'm saying that take it to the other extreme. Doubt fully everything that you can doubt. Everything that you can doubt it fully. And that's what brings us to Descartes in a way. Because he is a poor guy, much maligned in today's world, because of cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. He's much misunderstood and much maligned. So what was his attempt really? His attempt was to say that what can I really be certain about? That is what satsang also is. What can I really be certain about? What can I not doubt at all? And he started in a very niti, very Vedantic way actually. He said, what about this world that I am perceiving? Is it undoubtable? Now you have to say, is it undoubtable? It's doubtable, isn't it? even if we can't confirm that it is not real. You see? Like in Vedanta, of course, everything that comes and goes is not real. You see? But even if you can't confirm that it is, if you can't confirm that it is not real, you see, can you confirm that it is undoubtedly? You see? Cannot confirm. It is not possible. He said the same thing. He said that, how do I know this is not a dream? In a dream, this very conversation could be happening, isn't it? You could be sitting in a room with 20, 25 people, and the very same conversation could be happening, and you could wake up this moment and say, that was a strange dream. Is it not possible? So because this very same event could be happening in your dream and you could wake up any moment, there is no way that you can confirm that this is not that event. See? So he said like that. Also because he had some Christian conditioning, he said that maybe the devil has a hold of me. He's making me see all this hallucination. So there are many ways to doubt the reality of this appearance. So this is doubtable. Then he said, okay, body, what if I'm just a brain in a vat? Like a brain which is kept somewhere, even if you take the reality of the brain or something like that. Can I really say that this body is undoubtable? Can't really say. Then what can you not doubt? So he went looking like that. Everything perceptible. Then at the final stage, he made one inference. He said that whatever, even if I'm doubting, I cannot deny that I'm perceiving these thoughts of doubt. Even if I'm doubting, I cannot deny that I'm perceiving these thoughts about doubt. So he made this inference that because there is perceiving of these thoughts, and I am perceiving them, therefore, as a result, I can say that because these thoughts are being perceived, I must be, I am. So that is the inference that he made. And he said, because there is thinking going on and I am perceiving it, therefore I am. That is what I think, therefore I am actually tried to convey. But in the world, actually, then in today's age, it got very misunderstood, where people start to say that he's saying that the thinking makes him be. But he's not saying that. Your being is not the product of your thinking, and he was not trying to convey that either. But it's very popular these days for especially amateur Vedantins to say, oh, Descartes, so foolish. He thought his being is a product of his thinking. How deluded is that? This kind of thing. So it is not that. It is to see that there is perception of this thinking. There is so he made this conclusion, this final inference, which also I am saying we don't have to make. Even that you can doubt. Don't have to infer even that because there is thinking going on and I am perceiving this thinking, therefore I must be. So don't even make that conclusion. You see for yourself. Don't even put your reasoning over, bring your reasoning there. You see for yourself. So, but the broader point, of course, was that we are exploring since yesterday the nature of this doubt, and many have conveyed to me that some doubts are coming up and something like that. So if you don't feel like it's possible to just like that, then you take that doubt and use it fully use it. Don't try to get rid of it, because then you'll just make yourself guilty, feel unworthy, all that rubbish which nobody needs. So just, if there is doubt, say, okay, so I'm doubting this, I'm doubting the teacher, I'm doubting the teaching, I'm doubting whether any of this is real. Okay, so what am I actually certain of? And apply the same benchmark to that, because many times we get into certainties. Okay, but actually, at the end of it, I'm just a person. Actually, it was a good trip. that I had in satsang, but let's get real. I'm okay. It was nice while it lasted. It made me feel good. All of this, but we are just, come on, person, no, admit it, like this kind of thing. You see, so if you find yourself getting into that frame of reference, then use the same benchmark that you used on the teaching, on the master, on everything, and apply it to that also. You see, are you just going to settle for the concept I am the person? You see, is that not doubtable? You see, so doubt that, find it. Say to yourself, till I have evidence or till I have a darshan of this person, I am not going to pledge my allegiance to it. You see, find it. You see? So use the same benchmark, then doubt everything. You see? And what remains? What can you not doubt? And see if there's a concept there, finally. You see? Or is there something greater than a concept there? So, if any of you feeling like you're stuck in the middle, you want to believe, but then doubt gets you, and you're not able to push it away, now you're feeling very bad and guilty and this kind of thing, don't. Forget all that. Doubt more.
Can I clarify something where you said he made that inference at last? Why would it have to be an inference? I mean, in the sense that I am perceiving the thought. How can I make an inference that I am perceiving the thought?
No, therefore is the inference. You see? That there is thinking going on. Therefore I must be. Or I am aware of this thinking, or I am perceiving this thinking. Therefore I must be. I think, therefore I am. See that therefore, whenever you use therefore, because this, you see, that implies time, it implies cause and effect. And if it implies that, that means it's an inference.
Because it must be his direct experience that I'm perceiving.
See, I'm saying, in the way it was stated, I'm not denying this. In fact, I'm defending Descartes.
I got confused a little bit.
I understand what you mean. I'm not saying that he got stuck in an inference. I'm saying the way the statement was made, it implies that finally there's an inference that, because this, therefore there must be. You see, I'm saying come to a greater seeing of that rather than just me using a therefore. You see? So, and this doubt actually made him the greatest philosopher of his time. It's only now that he is much maligned. You see? But in his time he was considered one of the greatest philosophers, and he spoke about many things, which many of those which I don't agree with also, but fine at least. You see? So don't go running from doubt. You see, if there is doubt, then doubt. Like doubt. What are you certain of? What are your certainties? You cannot tell me 3 things that you're certain of. You see, you might, but really are they undoubtable? Check for yourself. So then even this nature of the mind we can use for inquiry, you see. The nature of the mind to doubt, even that we can use for inquiry. See, I've said sometimes, I used to say more often earlier, that this super trickster mind, you see, where does it derive its intelligence from? Same being, same consciousness. So the source of its trickiness and smartness is the same consciousness, you see. So it cannot really outsmart consciousness, because it is like a child, you see. The child can be very smart, but the parent, you see. So consciousness, when it really wants to open up to itself, you see. And remember, I'm using all these terms provisionally, okay? There's no battle like that, or consciousness trying to do this or not trying to do this, just to try and explain something. So when consciousness is really opening up to itself, then it can easily outsmart the smart one, trick the trickster. So the trickster said, but, okay, but what is undoubtable? Is it? Find that. So go along its path and saying, but, okay, so what is not? But what is your certainty then? And those of you who are warrior doubters, don't worry. Then the doubt comes, gone, then don't worry about it. You see? You're open and empty anyway. You see? Now you don't have to pick up like me doubtfully. But if you feel like you're a bit stuck in the middle, you see, like the more you try to push away your doubt, the more it makes you unhappy, uncomfortable, feel guilty. You don't like doubting, and but it still keeps coming, like that. Then doubt completely, full doubt. And use the same benchmark for the positive, for the negative. Use the same benchmark. So use the same benchmark. As much as you doubt you are free now, you see? Do you doubt that you are not free? You see? Same amount. And this is really what we have been talking about all throughout. What do you actually know? And is there a way to know the truth? When we say self-knowledge, Atma Jnana, you see, what kind of knowledge is this? That's what we've been talking about. What is true self-knowledge? This is what Janaka asked Ashtavakra also. Can you tell me what is true self-knowledge? You want to say?
Yeah, I'm still experiencing the darshan of this releasing of my certainty of my spiritual concepts, which had very subtly replaced my non-spiritual concepts.
Yes.
And this pointing to doubt.
You had replaced non-spiritual concepts with new spiritual concepts.
Like,
exactly.
This is what this journey to freedom looks like, and there's some, things arise, create resistance, and then there's an examination, and then, like this narrative.
Yes.
And now also this thing you said about just like, I don't know what up is.
Yes.
Like that it's like some curtain has been pulled back over all these subtle certainties I had been operating with.
Yes.
And now it's like I'm looking at things and I'm just sort of observing how I don't know anything at all. And then each time something is recognized as not certain, it's seen that there was someone who was certain about it. Like there was identity hiding under the rock of that belief that was never really observed. And it's been really wonderful. And I think it's different. I think at some point I may have been, if this had come, I don't know, this is conjecture, but in the past I might have felt too untethered, and now I feel very relaxed in this total uncertainty of everything, which has been really wonderful. And that there's, I noticed like, even around this idea, there's still some, I can see the tendency to form a new concept around the uncertainty of all concept,
the beauty of uncertainty.
Just gently, just visual,
yes, that's well spotted. Well spotted, you see, because yes, if you keep spotting like this, it's very good, because the mind will want to participate in all of this as well.
Yeah.
And say, this is really nice. You see?
Yeah.
You must just keep this. It's like we're letting go of all uncertainty, all certainties, and then it can feel like we become very certain about uncertainty.
Yeah.
So, but this is a beautiful report also, because many sages have called this empty of whatever we thought we knew, you see, as tranquility. Some have called it peace, some have called it shanti. You see, it's just like this, to let go. And actually, this is the beauty of right now, here and now. We actually start every moment like this. So it's not even really that we dropped it, although we can say drop it. It's not really that we dropped it, even that is already done for us. Even that dropping is already done for us. That's why I said that no prerequisite, no precondition, nothing has to happen or not happen. So then the spiritual templates that we make, that first like this, then like that, then like this, then like that, like that, also then go for a toss, because what template do I need to sit where I'm sitting right now? What roadmap is needed? You see? What are the landmarks that you have to cross? You see? Yes. You have to come a bit closer or speak a bit louder, because no, you do.
One of my biggest fear to abide in the self was to get mad.
To
get mad,
and
and be put in a psychological hospital. And this morning I realized if that happened, that they put them in the psychological hospital, it would be fine. Because there I can eat, I can lie down, I can sit, I can breathe, I can do everything.
Yeah. Good, very good. In the sense, not very good. You know, there is a thing. What's his name? Was it Kafka? He had this fear that of irrational fear of being imprisoned. So, and I realized that growing up, I used to have this irrational fear of being imprisoned. I don't know if it's a common thing some of you have like that, or it was just a few of us have this irrational fear of being like confined. Like being put into unjustly prosecuted, and unjustly prosecuted and being put in prison. And when I came across Kafka, I was just like, wow, you see, because it felt like that. Someday some people are going to come and say, but you did like that. But I was not there. I used to imagine these things, what my defense would be, these kind of things when they come. And I was reading this book, I think it's a trial or something like that, and it was like, this one is speaking my words. Which you just have, at least here there was this fear. Then one day I just looked at it and said, okay, so what's going to happen? And this one is quite an introvert anyway, he doesn't like too much talking to people. And then you'll find that funny, of course, but more like happy like that. So then I just saw, okay, what is this solitary confinement going to be like? You see, this contemplation of course happened after meeting Guruji. All the fear was before. After meeting Guruji, there was more openness to even look at that and say, okay, so what is it? You're going to put me in a small place, I'm going to have a small place to rest, you see, everything will be there. And even in this life, you see, if I did not have the office to go to, I'd just be sitting in my room all day. There's nothing much like that, you see. And so I felt like, that's my mini cave. If they're going to give me a mini cave, you see, and or a proper cave actually, and not charge me for it, and then food will be given like you're saying. Even if it is bad, I'm not so picky about food actually. You see? So all is set. You see, it felt like that. So it just felt like this fear of being wrongfully prosecuted and being put in prison or something like that. It just fled. You see, it just went away because you feel like, okay, what's going to happen? You see? So like this is very good. You faced up to it and say, okay, so what's going to happen? Somewhat very similar to this.
And what I saw too is that if I don't abide in the sign itself, I am confined in my thoughts.
Yes,
in
that
my
is the
identity.
prison. That is the prison.
And that's the prison.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you. So good. So good. Father, as I reject or distance myself from the knowing or the conceptual definitions, each moment, including the I thoughts, it seems I am still left with this super ego doing all this not knowing. How do I deal with this? Good point. So, that's why I said that if I don't know is not to fill yourself now with a new notion that I don't know. It is to be empty even of that. So I have to say to all of the reports I'm getting today, it's very well spotted, you see. This is very good music to my ears because that means you're not falling for the same tricks of the mind. At least you're making it work hard and falling for new tricks, which is good. No, it's good. I mean it in a good way. So, can you just say something like this? No, stay in Satsang. So it's good that you're spotting all of this, that you just feel like I don't know can be the new position, is it? And that you call super ego, it can become like that, a spiritual ego which is just built on I don't know, like that, is it? But like this now, there's no notion of knowing or not knowing, is it? Like that. So there are very few words which can point like that. That's why I have to employ some clicks or something like that. Because whatever will be said, then it will become an object of your knowing, or you'll try to like not know it or know it. Then it becomes all in that paradigm of intellect again. But something is more natural than that, which is just. So Satsang is really introducing you to this naturalness. Which is empty even of the notion that okay, it's just now. You see, like this, because otherwise I could just say it's just now, but then we try to live in the now. You see? And there is nobody who's trying to live in the now is living in the now. You see, because trying itself is getting in the way. You see? So I'm just going to try and live in the now. I'm going to try. You see, it's too much position in that. So just more like a giving up, letting go, big letting go. And if our intellect mind gets frustrated with this, that's also fine. That's also fine, because let it burn out in frustration or whatever. Because it will say, but then is it this way or that way? What am I supposed to do? This is so unclear. So I'm saying, what is before you hear the sound of the click? What is before the sound of the click? There's nothing before. It can obviously make big concepts about this which are very frustrating and irritating. But it's okay. Even that, then get frustrated fully. Just like burn it out. What else you got? Everything is so unfair. My life is so unfair. The master doesn't look at me. He's never answered a question straight. All this, build it up, like burn it out, like fully. Don't have half measures then. Go fully on it. Because it is not unlimited, you see. Why it is said the truth will prevail? Because the truth is unlimited, is ever present, no matter what happens. You see? But the mind is not unlimited. If you say, okay, mind, give me 10 concepts right now. You see? Right at this moment. You will start struggling. You see? Then it becomes like that. But if you try to run from it and say, no, I don't want to hear this, but what about this? What about, like that. So, meet everything in your openness. Meet fully open. Okay, what is it? Is that it? You have some more. Sometimes like that is also okay. Anything, whisper. You see? Why are you whispering? Tell me what you want. Okay, say, what is it? Like that. So, and all these are like provisional, okay? All these are provisional. So, it is not that you will always keep like, then you will always just become, okay, what else? What do you want? Like that. So, just to see through the trick and saying, okay, what else do you have in your Pandora's box? So, that not knowing, which is not even knowing that it is not knowing. You see? And that's why I created this sort of tool, which was first to create like the foundation for an inquiry, which was to provide the infrastructure for the inquiry, so to speak, which is to say that to know even one thing is to know too much. You see? And then to ask yourself the question, what do I know when I know nothing? You see? I feel like it is a very pristine way to just look at this, because it clean up and inquiring, you see. So even to say that I know that I don't know is to know too much, because it is to know one thing. You see? And then face all the music from the mind saying, but how can you live like this? It is just not possible. You have to run your life. Who will be responsible? All of these things. You see? And you will face and you see that they are nothing. They are just thoughts. And as you start noticing that it is just a thought, you will notice that everything you thought was even phenomenal reality was just a thought. I hope that's not too big of a statement, but everything that we think is even like a phenomenal reality is just a thought. Even time, even space, which seem to provide the structure for like a phenomenal reality to play out, are just notions. The sages have said often the notion of time, the notion of space. Who was it? Somebody wise said, as you go hunting for duality, you will see that it's astonishing. The results are astonishing. I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember exactly what we said. But like you were saying, as you're hunting for this knowledge and distinctions, basically duality, you'll see that first you will see, oh, I still thought I knew this, I still thought I knew that, I still think I know this, I still think I know that. And that itself is astonishing first. And then as you start getting rid of this stuff, say, wow, wow, yeah. This is like all our like conceptual knowing is replaced with this like sense of wonder. Just, wow. Which is just so naturally present. We thought that it is through our knowing stuff that we will come to this wonderful existence or something like that. But actually it is the wonderful existence which has always been there. This is wonderful.
Never stop.
Huh?
Never stop.
Never stop.
Yeah.
Never stop. You see? It has always been there. Yeah, if they want to come up, she can come. Let me unmute.
Hello? Can you hear me? Okay. I'm very nervous. I just felt I need to it's a little confusing when you look to the side and I you know I have the feeling that you are. Yeah, yes, I know why you're doing it. I cannot hear you, but I know why. I just want to share something. I think I'm not sure. Yesterday I was kind of upset. I became kind of upset in Satsang because I was upset with my attachments, and it was kind of funny. And I in a way, sorry, I'm just stumbling. It doesn't matter. I just was upset with these attachments, and then I looked at this word attachment somehow, and I found out it is actually really only the belief that something can give me something I want. The belief that that a thing or some thoughts can give me or can fulfill me or can give me something what I would like to have. And then in the very moment, actually, I felt this word attachment was really helpful, to have this word attachment with this understanding, and in the same instant, it just fell away, like a seemingly very strong thing was just gone. And then another thing, what came up tonight, I was sleeping so badly the whole night. I was actually, when I went in bed, I was so full of in bliss, just in bliss, and could not sleep. body was very tired, but I just could not sleep. And when I woke up, actually, then this morning, something came to me which really was a kind of shock, and it was related very much to the satsang yesterday, to the question Amaya put in with this social phobia thing, and also was related to the heart altar conversation, something like it really stirred something up here. And what I found was that fear was also always a very big thing here, and maybe still is. I don't know at the moment, but it was when I woke up, all this stuff was coming into this body-mind system, not as a story as such, but it was just there and shaking everything. And then this thought came that it is at times really good to look at the story, because I found that my way really it is a little bit related to the doubting what you mentioned in the beginning of Satsang. I found out that my way really that I am very much denying and disowning things and just doing like nothing is going on. And actually I found out all this fear, what is going on here, just is in the system. I don't know, it's just fear. And there's no just fear, and you don't know anymore what the fear is about. And then this morning it came up again, a very strong story of self-hate. It was so intense. What I was telling my life, all my life, was so touching and so painful. What I was believing about myself. And I had no idea that I was believing it. And I thought it was really like, it was so good to see this story, this content of what I was telling myself my whole life. How bad and mad I am. And it seems like, yeah, I cannot, it was just so, we often say in Satsang, just forget about it, or, and I took it so literally, and I just, forget about it and don't look at it. But it's really important to look at these things and not to, because it's just a lie, this lie that you are living, and when you look at it, you see the story and you see it's really only thoughts. It's really only thoughts. And all your life you are just really suffering because you're just believing it and not taking one moment to look at it. It was really, all this reminded me on what you were saying about denying, doubting, and also your story about Kafka, this thing, and I was so much misunderstanding all this spiritual stuff. You should not, now you're spiritual, you should not look at the stories or all this stuff, all these spiritual concepts around, you know what I mean. I cannot find the words, but I just wanted to put this, just bring this out because it was so, I don't know, I'm just, the words are just not coming. I just had to speak this out. It's just, there's so much suffering.
Very good, very good. Very good report, my dear. In fact, many times we feel that the only way to inquire is to ask. Oh, no, no, unmuted. No, I'm good. Thank you. That's good. So it can feel many times that the only way to inquire is how it is prescribed. You see, just sit in a place and ask yourself, who am I? You see? But that is not the only inquiry. To look at the validity of our notions, to look at whether this story is true or not, is also inquiry. Whether you call it inquiry or you call it deconstruction or whatever you call it, you see, to look at it and say, yes, so what is really real? You see? So I feel that this is very good, and what exactly how you deconstructed the notion attachment is a beautiful inquiry. You see? It's a very beautiful inquiry. So this is very good to hear. You see? Many times I notice still that I may have tried to clarify this point quite a few times, but it still gets misunderstood in a sense. You see, when I'm saying let go of the notion, let go of any concept of it, it may seem like, or say, forget about it. You see? And it's natural for it to seem, but I hope I've clarified this often enough what that forget about it actually implies. It is not to come to a denial of what is happening, but it is to meet it without the blanket of our ideas about it. You see? Because when we meet the ideas, then we actually not meeting it properly, not meeting it fully anyway. We're meeting an idea of it. You see? So when it is said to let go, forget about it, you see, it is to forget about the notion of what it is. Meet it unlabeled. You see, whatever it is. Amaya yesterday, maybe she called it latent tendencies or something, to meet it, you see, whatever it is, without even labeling it like that, but whatever seems to arise, the latent tendencies, to meet it without the shield of presuming to know what it is. That is when we actually meet it. So when it is said, forget about it, let it go, remain in the unborn, you see, but remaining in the unborn doesn't mean that it is resisting something, it should not come. You see, it is to meet it empty of our knowledge of it, because our knowledge of it is so burdened with our memory, our past experiences, what we think about it, what it should be, what it should not be. That comes with just one notion of it. You see, so actually, it is funny that letting go of the notion is sometimes labeled as avoidance, but actually it is the opposite of avoidance. It is to meet something with the lens of a notion of our knowledge. That is avoidance, meeting it fully. You are avoiding meeting it fully by presuming to know what it is. Oh, this person is like that. If you already judged, somebody came in fresh and based on physical characteristics or something, we are already starting to judge. You see? And so we are using these labels, this one is like that, this one is like this one is like that. You see? So did we meet that one? We did never met that one. In 2 minutes we were with our notions of what he or she is, and we felt like that is how we really met that one. You see? But it took away the freshness from actually meeting. In the same way, when we meet something with the story on top, with the notion on top, then we are meeting the story more than we are meeting that which is arising. You see? We are meeting our label of that more than what it actually is. You see? So So to remain in the unborn, to remain in your notionless existence is not the avoidance of anything at all. In fact, it is a complete defenselessness, complete vulnerability, complete openness. You see? But if we think that our life is run only through our intellect, then it can seem like when I forget about the notion of it, then that itself is gone. You see? So actually what Nitya said is very good. She said first she looked at this attachment itself and said, what is this actually? And she deconstructed and said like this, to expect something out of something is an attachment. You see? And then she looked at what that term is pointing to and she said this is filled with so much distinction and things like that. And then she became free of the term and she felt so much lightness and openness. And she can correct me if I'm paraphrasing wrongly or something. You see? And then she outlined this problem which I'm addressing now, which is saying like, because when we hear words in satsang sometimes like let go, forget about it, like that, it can feel like what he's saying is that just don't look that way. You see, don't look that way. But I'm not saying that. I'm not saying don't look that way. I'm saying forget what you think you know about it. You see, forget what your notion is about it, and don't either bring it into an embrace or in a averse position. You see, what is the opposite? Or like pushing. You see, so because we can become very champion embracers also. You see, but that is also not it. You see, so the point is not to take a position about it and allow it to unfold, allow the meeting to unfold in the most natural way. You see? And this meeting in the most naked way, in the most open way, is very, very good. You see? It is like a meeting without avoidance. You see? Because we have very few terms and labels for the qualitative distinctions that appear in our life. You see? We have like a label called anger, we have a label called grief, we have a label called lust, we have a label called greed. But these are very few. But what is actually the quality of the experience is not actually truly captured in these labels. You see? So as we meet life in this way, like if you just add a label orchid, what is on the right of me, there is an orchid. You see? I know what it is. Orchid. Is it? But look at that. You see?
And also, if it's still the sense of continually forget, it's still also the sense that someone who can forget.
Yeah.
Okay, if not,
Yeah.
that don't need forget anything.
Yes, exactly. So not take any position. Either, like that's why I've been saying also, don't make it a position like I don't know, like the not knower position. You see, in the same way, all that looking that is needed happens naturally in this most beautiful, wonderful way. You see, we don't have to take the position of either denying or looking. You see, we can look at this a bit. You see, we don't have to take either position. That now I used to be a champion denier, and now I'm the champion looker. You see, it doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to become a champion anything. You see, whatever looking is needed happens on its own very naturally. You see, in fact, if you burden it so much like I'm going to look now, I'm going to look now, then actually we are no longer looking also. You see, because it just feels like we can make too much out of that thing. You see, because when we are looking at tactics to find a solution, then that can become it also. Saying, yeah, it's coming now, I better look. Like that, you see, but that in that I better look, there's too much like identity getting created anyway. You see? So this defenseless, open, vulnerable looking just happens on its own, you see, without any label of it, without us taking on the position that I have to deny or I have to look. You see that in the unborn, all of this is perfectly resolved. Perfectly resolved. You see? So if something needs to come up, looked at, it dances. You see? You're truly meeting it. You're not saying, okay, this is this is that. You're just meeting it. It is like that, you see? That is when you truly meet. Otherwise, you're half in the mind saying, okay, this is what's happening to me, this is what I should do, this is what I should not do, like that, you see. But just like that, you see. Just naturally being with it, you see, is a very open, very naked way of existing. And
what you say to this looking is not a doing. It is not a doing. It's just the happening. I was trying, I was trying often and a lot of times to look at things, but this is not working at all. There's just this veil before. You are not able to look. And this meeting is also not a meeting as such. I know of course you know what I mean, but it is just this, it's an unfolding somehow, maybe. It is just not describable, because when you really meet or when you look, it's really just, it is not on your side. You are not doing anything. It is really just unfolding and just showing itself to you also. And everything is just falling away. There's nothing, there's no residue afterwards. Even when emotions are coming up with it, they are clean. The emotions are clean. There's nothing in them as such. So.
Yes. Beautiful report. It's like this. It's just, you can say, unfolding, natural unfolding. Yes. Then, dear Anantaji, one finds that the very process of recognition itself is weighing down on oneself. The very process of recognition itself is weighing down on oneself, sort of disconnects oneself from that emptiness. Even this disconnect looks meaningless after the previous sentence. Just wanted to share that recognition seems to interfere. Just try to keep calm and see how it unfolds. Yes. This is very good. If you can just keep calm and allow it to unfold. You see? This is good. A few years after I met Guruji, maybe 3-4 years after I met Guruji, it became very popular, these keep calm and posters. Okay? What was the original one? It was in the British War, the original.
Calm and carry on.
Keep calm and carry on was the original one. They kept changing the carry on part to. It became very popular, So then somebody had made for me like a present. They had made me a poster which said, "Keep calm and trust Muji." So for a while I feel like I even made it my Facebook profile photo or something. So that is it, you can just keep calm and trust the master. Then it's just simple. To keep calm and see how it unfolds, because all of this weighs us down. You see, it's the idea that something is happening, the idea that I'm doing this or not doing this, or this happening enough or not happening enough. You see, all of this weighs us down, and of course all of it is notional. You see? But there's a point where we don't yet recognize how many notions we still carry. You see? And when these come and play, then they feel like valid representations of reality. When some notions come, they still feel like valid representations of something real, of what is. You see? And that is why they seem to get our belief. You see? Because they seem like they are valid. So as we are going through this cleaning up, washing out, It can seem like the notion of cleaning up, the notion of washing out itself is weighing us down also. You see? You can feel like that, of course. So in these times, whatever brings us to peace, whatever helps us remain calm is good. And if you find that it is not working out, trying to be at peace, then fully let it, dance around like that is okay. But this half and half gets into the struggle, you see. So I have to say that at some level there is no prescription which is true. It's just that sometimes something sounds like, okay, this helps, sometimes something else sounds like this helps, sometimes something else. You see? So like Maharaj said, nothing that I am speaking is true. You see? Only truth I can speak is that I am. But actually even that is ultimately not true. You see? So there is no valid prescription to spirituality. You see? Because if there was a valid prescription to spirituality in the whatever 100,000 odd years that humanity has been around, somebody would have figured it out by now and say step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. This is, and enough generations would have come and gone who would have experimented with that template and said, finished. You see? But till today, for so many hundreds of thousands of years, we're still debating what is the right path to spirituality. You see? And some like me are saying that even that is not the right path. We're saying that there is no path because it already is. You see? So that can be attractive to some, it can be very unattractive to others, and it is as much the right or wrong path as anything else. You see? So don't feel like anything that is being offered here is like a truth in itself or something like that. It is just, I have started using the term of provisional truth to help us look, to help us rid ourselves from a notion about ourselves. What Bhagavan very beautifully called thorns. The thorns we are using to remove other thorns and then are thrown away themselves. And Guruji beautifully says, don't make tattoos out of my words. You see? Because if it was in a set of words, then in the 5 years I would have figured out it is this set of words that just works. You see? And that's it. Then I would have made a script out of it. And actually then it's easy, just post the video and say these set of words just works. Follow it in this like a recipe, Step 1, mix so much devotion, mix 2 grams of inquiry, mix it all up, and then you find that the flour is starting to rise, and then you mix some salt in it, like this kind of thing. We would have figured out the recipe for freedom and post it like that. You see? But it doesn't work like that because our conditioning is so varied. The belief systems are so varied. What we consider ourselves to be is so varied. You see? So the seeming things that negates that, the seeming pointers which seem to neutralize those, also seem to attack it in a unique way. You see? So someday Master says, inquire, don't do anything but inquire. You see? One day Master says, forget inquiry, just give up, let go. You see? One day Master says, you are it, forget it. You see? All different. You see? One day Master will say, just chant the name of Ram. You see? Depending on the type of master. You see?
Stop it.
Huh? Stop it. You see? Like, be quiet. Hey, Papaji, be quiet. Like that. All different. If one of those actually just worked universally, then the master would never say anything else. He would just say, be quiet. You see? But it doesn't. Sometimes explanation, sometimes silence, sometimes inquiry, sometimes devotion, sometimes whatever. You see, because there is no real prescription like that, which is just like swallow this pill 3 times a day, within a week you are free. It doesn't work like this. So
it's the opposite thing which is confusing. Be quiet, but be burning.
Yeah, and to see, our condition is that confusion is bad. You see? But actually, I am promoting confusion. You see? Because if you were to get clarity intellectually on it, you see, then I'll have to invent new ideas to remove that clarity, intellectual clarity. You see, the true clarity is beyond intellectual knowing. You see, if you made a safe box for yourself and said, I am the self, I cannot be touched, just like C4 notion like that, you build a big box, you see, and then you use that to deny whatever you are experiencing, whatever your life is bringing. I am the self. Pa, do you want to go out for dinner? I am the self. Yeah, like this kind of sort of thing. You see, it has become so limiting. You see, it is more limiting actually than free.
Food is for humans.
Huh?
Food is for humans.
Yeah, exactly. Food? What's that? So I'm going to use that on my kids. Are you referring to me as this body? So it is not that we will come to intellectual clarity. In fact, many come to satsang first time and say, Ananta, my problem is I think I know everything intellectually, but I don't really have the experience of it, or something like that. You see, so already you have seen that it is not in the intellectual conclusions. You see? So many of you, when you came first, said, but I know so much intellectually, I've read all the books, I've tried this and tried that. So this problem is already identified by most of you, that it is not going to be found by having an intellectual idea of it, you see. But maybe it is the extent of what is stored up in our intellect that we don't yet realize. It is the extent of what boundaries we have made around our existence, the seeming boundaries that we made using our notions, our intellect. You see, what we have affirmed to be correct or wrong, true and false, all these create limitations. You see? So in satsang, if I was to give you more and more intellectual confirmation, then you would leave from this satsang and go to another master and say, I was with Ananta for 5 years and I know everything intellectually now. Isn't it? It would be a valid complaint. You see, you would say, I know everything intellectually now, but what did I really get? I don't know. And he would say, yeah, right, let me rid you of this intellectual knowledge. You see, it would be a very valid conversation to have. You see, so because we feel for a long time, that's why I keep introducing you to something beyond these tools. You see, the tools of perception, the tools of conceptualization. Because it may feel like you already recognize that I only know things intellectually, I don't have real experience of the truth. You see, but you're still trying to intellectualize that, get a new solution which will be a better solution, but still in the intellect. You see. So that is why I was saying that I want to confuse the intellect as much as possible. You see, if I feel like your temperament is that way, you see, if your temperament is that to look, to inquire, you see, then I'm not going to let you rest on any of these intellectual conclusions. I'll keep shaking it up. You see, one day like that, one day like this, one day this is true, one day that is true, because it is not to be found there. You see, but once I see that you're done with this gathering, you're done with this grasping attempt to try and capture it with your intellect, then I don't have much to say actually. You see, then I don't have much to say. And this Ananta that you find always is countering everything that you seem to be saying. He'll just come in agreement. You see, just like, yeah. You see? So the attempt here is not to let you rest on your intellectual grounding, but to shake it up. Shake it up to bring you to a greater unknown intellectually, but a truer knowingness. So, first, don't feel that confusion is bad. You see, because we've been taught to believe that. Like in school, if you were confused, you were like the worst student. But you are confused whether the earth is flat or spherical. And you're a terrible student. Yeah? Here, if you're confused, means you're losing your certainties. Is it this way or that way? You don't know. It's good. Is it? If you're building spiritual frameworks, then it is my job to demolish them. Is it? If you're building templates, it is my job to tear them up.
I was just saying, so if it's the template, then throw it away.
Yeah,
I tried
exactly.
every recipe which you gave.
Yeah.
This way, that way, whichever. And every time I come to a space, now where there's immense gratitude and there's only you, I start. And then there's this wonderful, only you. And the next day or something, and what happens is full doubt comes, full drama.
Fully full. Full is good.
And I'm like, nothing is left, undoubted. And then
that's good.
Boom, 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 and then just like starts shaking it.
Yeah.
And then no,
but let it shake up everything. You see, don't run from this doubt. Like if you say it is full doubt, you see, this is what I was saying. That
you began satsang with it. You know, like you began, and then I started again doing what you're saying, right? Because now I'm following you, and okay, I'm leaving all the Vedanta concept. I'm really just not. I'm just looking, and I know. I know. Okay, that voice. It's not there in my. It's not there when I'm in my deep sleep. It's just not there. So if whatever it says to you, you just don't listen in a sense because you know it was not there. The world was not there. Nothing was there, and then you just start getting silent again. Somehow you just start getting. But this, I don't know what to do with these emotions.
So let's see if I understood a bit of what you were asking. You're saying there are some days where it is so clear and it just feels like there's only you. Yeah, only you, only the self, only whatever. So there's only you, and then next day there's a cocktail of things. You see, there's full of doubt. There's these emotions which are seeming like resistive emotions. There's all of that is happening. You see. Okay. Now, this is what I'm saying. That when it is like that, the doubt will say, "Oh, are you sure he's free himself? Is he? Are you sure he's telling the truth?" But I'm saying I'm not speaking the truth.
No, it's not that kind of.
No, I'm saying whatever, generally.
It's
so, whatever it may be. Say, okay, you give example.
So it's not like that, it's like, it's not like now mental, it's not a questioning down. It's just an emotional upheaval kind of stuff.
Okay, so emotional upheaval is like this handshaking.
Yeah.
Then?
Then nothing,
Are you sure nothing?
No, then it's...
How does this shaking become doubt?
I don't know.
It's shaking.
It's like I don't want to cry anymore.
That...
It's like... I just want this to stop now,
The shaking to stop?
Yeah. I don't know what I want to stop, and I don't want to feel like this anymore. It's like, just wants to cry for like once and for all, like, and it's just, now don't come back again kind of feeling, you know. And I looked at it quite a few times. I don't know what to do. It's just a dream. Which is like I'm making more statements. It feels very embarrassing also. I don't ask people.
So as these emotions come up, you tell me, if you meet it with the lens of this has to stop, how does that feel? Or this should not come, or when will it go, or why me?
It's a sense of worry.
It's a sense of worry, of helplessness, all these things. Have you had some moments where the emotion just comes up and you're not interpreting or labeling or judging or pushing it away or any of that?
No.
There's no moment.
I mean, it's like in the morning, there was this, anything can trigger it. I mean, like one silly question, anything. And if it starts, and then it was just so funny. I was in the morning, it was just starting, and then you came, and in your presence, I mean, everything just fell away again. It was just silent. I was like, can I deny this presence? Can I deny this? How? And it really went away, and there was nothing. And then it starts again, and it just keeps coming somewhere. It has to do with God, it has to do with something, I don't know, and mostly it has to do with God.
God.
I mean, it's the worst when it has to do with God.
It's
it's most shaking with I don't know when it has to do with something with God.
like feeling distant from God or forsaken by God, or what is it?
No. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know, I'm feeling embarrassed to say.
Oh. After broadcast? It's okay, whatever. I don't want to make you uncomfortable and you must say now or something.
Okay, I'm done.
It's okay.
Say it.
This is a good instance what you pointed out, because you said something which is very insightful. You said that sometimes you feel like I'm just going to be so open to it and let it come so that it can go, in a way. I'm paraphrasing a bit. You see? And these are the tactics that I speak of, these ploys which don't work. You see? You just feel like I'm going to hold on to an intent quietly on the side, that I'm letting you come just so that you can go.
Yeah. Or to watch.
Okay, so but with the intent of being rid of it, you see. So with that intent, it is not really being truly open. You see? You see? I know these can sound like very subtle things, because these are very much popular in like pop psychology and things like that. That just because we take the opposite to be true. So then when we hear, if you what you resist persists, then you feel like if you want to truly be rid of something, then what you have to do is be open to it. You see? And it would work if we didn't have this intent that I am doing this so that I can be rid of it. You see? So like being open with like checking, is it gone yet? Is it gone yet? Is it gone yet? Is not really being open. You see? Like I'm being so open, why is it not going? He's not being open. You see? Are you noticing what I'm saying? Because it can be like that we can have a tactic and say, I'm just going to be open so that it can go. You see? But that is being closed actually.
Yeah.
Maybe being more closed than being closed. You see? Because you're trying to be devious about being closed. You see? If you're just being closed and you're like, I don't want this, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Like, you see? At least there's integrity in that. When we come into this sort of being open so that it can go, then it's like very devious, you see, without realizing, and it's surprisingly become very popular. It's like, I'm going to be so open that it's going to go super quick. Yeah. But if we're just checking on whether it's going, are you not going, are you going, yeah, it's really working, that, then it's not being open at all, it's just being smart, you see, it's trying to be smart.
But it's also,
I'm not saying you're doing that.
I'm just saying it's like a reflex rather. The minute it starts, there's already a position, I have to watch it.
Yeah.
There's just it's just like a reflex is coming. I mean, you don't know when it may start.
That's what I'm saying. They don't take a position of either I have to push it away or I have to watch it.
Yeah.
You see? Because both can become these positions.
Because if you are open, it doesn't matter if you go or don't go.
Yes, that is open.
Yes,
that is open.
I also have the same experience about suffering sometimes.
Yeah.
And I always try to stop the suffering, or try to do something for stop it or for it don't happen again. And then I realize, oh, it's just another color or other color of the painting.
Exactly,
There's
another color.
Nothing you can do included. It's just recognize. It's just this need happen. And obviously, it's not pleasure. It's obviously I prefer maybe pleasure is much better. Well, but there's nothing in your control and nothing you can do. Yeah.
But when I do that, what he's saying, and I talk myself to say that, then it's like, now who's saying this? Now it's the mind doing a false inquiry. Now, I mean, it just gets into a kind of a loop. And I feel much better now. So,
So
these are mind tricks, right?
Yes.
Had similar experiences, and when I observe it, now it's becoming easier. That
but before we get to that, she was not saying that when she says that to her, then she feels much better. She was saying that two disconnected sentences which seem to come together. Then how all the self-talk starts, and incidentally I'm feeling much better now. At least that's what
exactly.
happened. It's not
it's not like when I do that. It's even worse then. The man has just
engaging with the mind.
Yeah,
you cannot
mind is even more.
you
so
cannot manipulate it with
but the loop of the inquiry, false inquiry starts like So it's not at all.
If we keep falling into those mind tricks, then it can like this way suffering, how to escape suffering. Because in everywhere there's limited identity, there's doership, there's all of this desire to be rid of or to have, you see. So what is this ego? It is 3D ego. 3D. I have to take this example after a long time. You see, I used to say the ego is a 3D ego. One is it is duality, firstly, because the idea of separation is inherent to it, and once you feel that you are separate, then obviously you feel like I'm a limited object. If I had that object, then I'll be better. You see, something will be better. So that is called desire, the second D. You see, if I make myself into a limited object, then I can feel like I'm so small, I'm so incomplete, I need this, I need that. So that is desire. And the minute we fall into this desire that I wish I had this or didn't have this, then it's like, what can I do to get it? You see? Or what can I do to avoid something? You see? So doership. So this ego is built around this construct, this 3D construct of duality, desire and doership. You see? So if you didn't have any of these notions, like if you had no distinction at all, no duality, what is there to desire or not desire, what is there to do or not do, you see? And then we fall out of this game of placing blame or giving credit. It's like for doership, it's very popular to play that game. I am not the doer, he is, you see? So when he's doing good things to me, I'm like, happy servant, you see? But when he's treating me badly, he's like, why me? You know, like this kind of thing, you see? But to be rid of doership actually is to be rid of the idea that there is doing, not that to come to a true conclusion about who is doing. Those at best are provisional. You see, it is like the waves are moving on the ocean. You see? You see, we are not saying the ocean is doing it. You see? You see? So we have made doing out of movement or doing out of activity, that is what gets us in trouble. Now whether we ascribe that doing to a greater force, you see, which makes us temporarily feel better before we start becoming victim, you see, or we ascribe doership to a limited entity which doesn't exist anyway, so it is bound to be fraught with suffering, you see. So that is not what is ultimately important, you see. So it may feel provisionally that I'm moving this locus from an individual doership to the doership belonging to consciousness or the Sadguru, you see. But then it is the emptying of the notion of doership itself, because it is just this. Who is doing it? Nobody. You see, the concept of doing does not apply. When I say not applicable, that's what I meant. You see, it is not really about who is doing it, whether it is God doing it or the non-existent person doing it. It is not about that. It is actually that there is no such thing as doing. You see, this doing mean nothing. You see? So to give credit or blame to either this way or that way, then is still to put it in the box of limitation. You see? You see? So what does it mean to do?
What about experiencing further?
Same way, what is experiencing? Like depends on what you use the term for.
Say I'm hearing these words.
Yeah.
I'm kind of doing this hearing, no?
So don't do it for a moment. You see, doing implies that there's like a switch. You see, that I can choose. So hearing is a very good one you took. So if I say don't hear, how is it possible? You see? There's no on-off switch for that. You see, but we make it like that. I'm hearing this. You see, now hearing is good because even Bankai said that if you let go of all notions, very naturally this so-called functioning is just happening. You see, so it's very good to see non-doing in the natural functioning of even this sensory play. You see, like how are you doing the hearing? How are you doing the sight? You say, by opening my eyes I'm doing. No, but even when eyes are closed, you are seeing. You see, you are seeing the darkness. You see, that is also sight. You see, so it is not really a doing. Doing is a notion applied on top of it. You see? And we have made it in humanity we seem to have made it a very central notion to our existence. But that's why we take these examples at times. That what is actually doing? We are implying choice in that, isn't it? Doing. We are implying that there is a choice, but that's why we take this example of a baby just born. You see, it's the baby saying, I'm out. What's the first thing I'm supposed to do? Cry. It's not saying that. And yet crying is happening. You see? Next is like, okay, I need milk. Where to find milk? It's not deciding and doing all of these things. And yet naturally all this functioning is happening. You see? So depends on how we're using the term doing it. If it implies this choice making, you see, and some idea of volition or agency, you see, then it's just made up because we cannot find the agent, you see, the seeming agent who is this thing, and because that seems too confusing, when we come and we start looking for the agent, we don't find it. That's why we find it convenient to give agency to a higher force and say agency must belong to that. You see, volition must belong to that, which is good provisionally. You see, but we don't apply it universally. You see, in the sense that if we apply it to why you're doing this to me, or all of this was the doing of consciousness. You see, now if you were to apply it universally, how would we do it? Like the shining of the sun. You see, everything, every single thing, like the amount of space between two bodies. You see, the amount of light reflecting on every face. You see, the temperature of every body, of every atom in the body. You see, so if you were to apply doership like universally like that, okay, fine. In my being, you see, I am doing all of this as being, as consciousness in my waking state. All of this is a product of my doing. Fine, you see. But what is our doing? Like we pick and choose some things and say this is good, this is bad. He did, I didn't do. Like it becomes very limited. You see, our mental versions are very, very tiny. You see, what is being done right now? This magnificent room is here. You see, what is it actually? You see, filled with these bright, shiny eyes. You see, filled with these reflections of light and shades of color. You see, filled with such beauty, like that I can't capture in words. You see, or doing that. Who's doing that? Okay, the being is doing. But how have we made the doing? Oh, she said this to me. You see that, but there is no she actually. It must be God doing. It's it's a very convoluted, like sort of thing. You see, broaden it up. Like if you're going to use it, then broaden it up. Just include everything. Like, okay, this taste your experience for what it is. You see, it's just like we get out of this photocopy version of what we think reality is, because it makes it so insipid. You see, like I have 3 immediate family members, and then I have a Sangha family. You see, then the world actually is like this, and so what do all these conclusions make my life to be such a tiny, insipid thing? You see, what is this? Like, meet this for what it is. You see, can you capture the way light is reflecting off one face? In 100 sentences you cannot capture it. In 100 notions you cannot capture it. You refuse to meet what is just in the beauty of just in its isness, you see, even its manifest isness. You see? Because we say, okay, I have understood this is like this. You know? God has created the sun is shining, light comes on this earth, this light gives light. This is how we live, like a science student, like this kind of thing. what is this? What is happening here? So meet this empty and naked, and then tell me what is doing and not doing. This is what it means to get out of the story, because then if you live in the story version, then it's easy to say, okay, then this one did this and then that one did that. You see? But what are we actually saying? Like, heads are nodding, eyes are blinking, you see? Hands are moving, all these various energetic. Are we talking about doership like that is doing all of this? Like, see? Every moment is full of all of this pulsating activity in our experience. Are we saying do it like that, or we are just picking and choosing and saying, this makes me feel good, okay, I did that. This makes me feel either way, is it good or bad? Then who did? Like this kind of thing. We have to broaden it up, like stretch it out a bit. Our notions of our existence, just stretch them out a bit, because they're vague like that. You see? I was growing up, and this is what my parents did to me. You see, but now I know that it was God who was doing. It's still a very insipid version. You see, it's just like one tiny aspect, you see, of a speck of your existence, one tiny grain of sand. You see, and we give that so much part of our story. But look right now, who's moving this mouth? These words are coming. Are you seeing somebody who's thinking about stuff and then speaking? You see, you're noticing that there is blah 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 blah. It's just coming out. You see, it's like that. You're seeing that your hearing is happening in the same way. You're not deciding to hear or not hear. It is just happening. These hands, weird things are just moving like this. You see? So when you start meeting it this way, then try to apply these concepts of desire, distinction, doing. You see? Then let me see what you are actually implying. You see? So these are easy to apply in like a storified version of our life. But if you meet this, which is not even the elephant in the room, as I call it, you see, because this is just your manifest aspect. You see? The space between this and this and this. All of this is not distinguishing itself. What I'm saying, okay, so if you start including everything, you see, so you start by including all the object, you see, then you start including all the space between objects, so include everything, you see, and get everything done. Then all the levels of your human existence or worldly existence, so your body layer, your emotional layer, your intellectual layer, all of this include, you see, and we still haven't got the elephant in the room, you see, that is the one that witnesses all of this. Include that. You see, this is what you are now. Include that big elephant which is not capturable through any intellectual construct. You see, now this is what you are now. Now tell me a concept which is true. You see? But if you first limit yourself and say, I am this, I had a past, this is my story, this is, then it's easy to say, then this one did this to me, or God did this to me, or I did this or not. But none of this actually applies. There is no such thing as doing. Actually, there is no such thing as even activity. We can say that we see activity and we make a doing out of it. Ananta is moving his hand. You see? Now I can guarantee you there is no Ananta sitting here moving his hand. You see? So that is one. But the second thing is that even that activity is happening. Can you really be certain? This hand is moving. Is that doubtable or undoubtable? It's doubtable. You see, because this is what Shankara started most of his pointings with. He looked at perception and said perception we cannot really conclude is reality, because he talked about silver, in the oyster, in the what is it called, mother of pearl. You see, he talked about the snake and the rope, many times it is perceived a certain way, but we see it is not that. You see? In the famous example of the blindfolded man and the elephant. So, perception is very much doubtable. We talked about dream state, we talked about hallucination, we talked about various things in which perception seems as valid. Last night I had this strange perception of a realm where I just was staying at the Leela for a few days, and they gave me room number 7 or something like that somewhere, and I opened this room door and it was like huge, there were like 1,000 beds for people to stay in. I said, what's happening? And I still felt like, I don't know whether this one was called Ananta or who it was called, but he went to the Leela and he had this experience and he's like, I should call my friends. I was like, so it's so funny that some aspects of this realm were still there. I was like, I have a college group or something which I don't have in this WhatsApp, but over there I had like a college group on WhatsApp. And I said, I have this room and there are like thousands of places for people to come. I should call the whole college and we'll party tonight, It's just like, so I'm going to send a group and I know it's short notice. I remember vividly all these things happening and it seemed as real. You see? I'm going to just invite them. This is a great opportunity. I didn't realize they're giving me such an upgrade. It didn't seem irrational. It didn't seem crazy. You see? It didn't seem out of the box. Nothing. It just felt like, whoa. I didn't know they had such a big place. So you opened the room and there were 1,000 places to stay. And the first thing that came is that I'm just going to use, there's only one body, so I'm going to use only one bed, so that is no fun. Let's call all our friends, we'll party, just like that. So it's so vivid and it seemed as real. It is not that that room seemed more, like what we call dream-like. You see, it's only dream-like in the waking state because that is gone now, so our memory of it is fading. So it seemed dream-like, but when it is there, it is as vivid. The touch, taste, smell, all the senses seem to work in exact same way. You see? Okay, how did I get to this point? You see, the perception, the reality of perception is so doubtable. You see, because if somebody had come and told me then that this is real, come on, guys, You see? So.
The one who is saying that will also be. The one who is saying that will also be in that dream.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That the movement of this dream character, you see, is very much part of the dream. You see, and that one in the usual experience in this realm is that most of these are proposing the reality of this, not the doubtability of this. Have we gone too far? That's a chat, is that? I just playfully tried out what can be quicker than a thought or feeling, etc., as you suggested in one of the satsangs. Then I felt like everything is on a flow, and the notion that I am experiencing things was visibly absent. Can life be as simple as that? My conviction is just growing. Very good. Same here, Father. Jyotima speaks my words. Even if I do not understand everything, she speaks. Beloved past, surrendering all conclusions that seem valid on noticing of yes and no, of this voice about everything, from a knife to broken family to freedom, seeing I have subtle intentions, what's in it for me, shaking up. Thank you for so much for reminding and meeting at the unborn. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki
Jai. Sadguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.
Guru Kripa Kevalam.